for having us. We are in Paris at the moment.
Oh, well, I was about to ask where you are at the moment because I know you guys are very busy getting around. How's the tour going so far?
It's going great. It's exciting to get around to cities we visited a few times before, but now it's scaled up in the production size and the venue size. And so, we get to see a different side of the industry and meet a lot of very enthusiastic listeners. So that's great.
And you've done it all in such like, if you really look at it, how long you've been doing this for, you've done a lot in such a short period of time. Like, how's that kind of been a wild journey? Because to get to where you guys kind of are now, some bands have been doing it for 30 years. Like,
Yeah, wild. Yeah, it's a good word for it. I think it was we didn't kind of predict that it would go so big so fast, but I
mm,
think some of the there's several factors. We've also talked about this amongst ourselves, of course, like why how are we here? I
yeah.
pinch my arms sometimes standing places. But there's a few reasons. I think Chris and me have been in the music industry for many years with different other projects.
Mm,
And we didn't create Heilung with the intention of this growing in this size. We created
yeah.
it because we genuinely had an interest in exploring some source material from Kai and experimenting with a genre that none of us had heard about before, and coming from backgrounds of experimental archaeology within the Viking and Neolithic and the Iron Age, Bronze Age. It's just been an exciting
Yeah.
journey, and then yeah, a zeitgeist. I like this word. There's a spirit of the time
Mm,
that's very much about people having a need of connecting to their roots.
yes.
And what we are creating with Heilung is we touch upon the core of humanity in a
Mm.
way, like in deep emotions and rhythms and heartbeats and nature sounds. And there's a whole movement. We are aware we need to take better care of our planet. And yeah, no, I'm just babbling away now. But guys, please enjoy.
If anyone wants to chime in, otherwise I can go on to the next question because I actually had something interesting that you mentioned about tapping in the beats and the nature and everything. It's funny. I work an office job, and this is a bit of a sappy story, but I use you guys to listen to music in the background all day because I'm trapped inside, don't get to go outside very much at all. But there's something about your music that has this kind of I want to use the word. It's like a piece of serenity around it that makes me feel like calm and centered but feel more focused and energetic all at the same time. And I can't quite put my finger on why that is. And maybe you could explain it to me because you guys are the ones creating it. But there's a certain thing that when I've got you guys on whilst I'm working, I just feel a bit more human and less like a cog in the machine, if that makes sense.
Think so. It's very much
Yeah, I think to get people into that condition, that is what I was working on already since my late teens, early 20s. And it's like I work a lot with core shamanism, and
Mm,
one of the main tasks to like whoever comes to you and asks for healing or recentering, to yeah, evoke exactly that condition,
mm,
to give people more energy, to bring people back to their center, that they're focused, that they realize, okay, what do I really want? What do I really need? To basically connect them inside themselves to that concept or that entity healing, whatever that means
yes.
for the individual. And of course, core shamanism is the approach towards shamanism globally, to find out what are the common elements that the Inuit people have, that the people in the rainforest have, that the Aborigines have, like with this super old traditional medicine.
Mm,
Is yeah, like the first markers of shamanism. We can find that in the Stone Age cultures, like 40,000 years ago. And there's like certain rhythms involved, certain frequencies, certain songs, how to say, like certain vocal techniques, all that kind of stuff that are helping. And of course, we are using that shamelessly in Heilung. That is why we say so self-confident. We're aiming at altering your state of mind, and it, yeah, it worked for 40,000 years, and it works now still.
Well, it's good, and I've got to say it's a lot cheaper than therapy. So thank you very much for that. At the same time, I appreciate it. But I've got to ask, and this actually comes from a big friend of mine. He's a huge fan of the band. He showed me you guys about 6 years ago. He wanted to know when you started this and making the music. I'm assuming not. But was it to develop into what it's become now, or was that just a natural progression? Because the stage, I can't even call it a concert because it's a performance. It's a show, or a ritual, as you like to say. And it truly is. I've been showing my wife a couple of your things as well, and it is just kind of awe-inspiring, dropping, especially at the Red Rock Auditorium, the new one you've just put out as well. What a beautiful backdrop to your show as well. Just how did this come together? Because it's not just the three of you when it's live. It is you've got a village at the end of the day.
Well, I think to start with, though, the intention in the very beginning was not what you see today. In the beginning, it was actually just a poetry concept between Kai and me in the studio. And then one day, one of his, I guess, teachers came by the studio, and he was supposed to do a little bit of drumming. Um, and I wasn't aware on the scope of this drumming, but after an hour of drumming inside the room, I was starting to asking questions when this recording, will end. What I noticed in this thing, and which I found really super inspiring, that over the course of an hour, what started as a beat in one tempo, halved in tempo over the course of an hour without anyone noticing. And what it basically does, and we still use elements from this type of beat today in our first song of the show. What I noticed is all of us were getting more and more calm with this type of thing. And shortly after, I asked Kai to sing some of his songs, and then I added a little bit of soundscapes. Maria came by and said, "What the hell are you guys doing?" and started singing on top of it also. And all of a sudden, when we had the first release, self-release out, some of our friends from different festivals were starting calling that we needed to come and play at their festivals. And yeah, and then we filmed the first show, and that exploded. Kind of what you see, this live recording,
Yeah.
not the newest one, of course, but the first one was actually the first time we were on stage together as Heilung.
Wow.
Um, um, and I don't think anyone could have anticipated how crazy it will go, other than I know Kai said from the beginning that it will be huge. So but we didn't create it with that intention. We created it with an honest intention on also what it does to ourselves. We'll listen to it.
Well, that's probably why it connects with everyone so much because you didn't create it with an aim to be like, oh, how do we reach mass people? How do we do this? You did it for your own thing, and that's naturally just kind of resonated with everyone. Like I said, it is very much healing and all over the world as well. To think that you're playing this music down here in Australia 2 years in a row with multiple sold out shows. And if people you're watching this and you want to go to the Sydney show, buy the tickets yesterday because I think there's only like 20 left. Like it's absolutely incredible. So well done to you all. But have you noticed there's any differences in the crowds to playing in different countries? Are people reacting to you differently, or are you feeling everyone's kind of coming as one all around the world when you're playing these rituals?
It's interesting. I think there's some variations in regards to how loud people feel that they can express themselves. Because countries or cultures seem like they are more, they take it in a more silent way. And then you have the US crowd, for example, they allow themselves to be loud and howl like wolves and act and dance and be physical. But what we see is communal for every single ritual we play, no matter where in the world we are. On the last piece, Hamra Hippie, we see people getting out from their chairs if they are sitting down. They are jumping up, they are dancing, they are howling, they reach a certain point of frenzy where
Yeah.
it's like it's impossible to stand still anymore, and that's universal.
And that's something special among itself, and it's a good way to kind of end the night for everyone as well, because it's such a big uplifting thing. They've been through this kind of experience with you, and then they can kind of finish it off in this big kind of almost joyful expression of their emotions and everything. And it's beautiful to see. Like, it really is beautiful to see, especially in this day and age where everything is so electronic, everything is so planned. To have something so primal and raw and touching is truly unique in itself, and you guys have done fantastic at doing it, and it's beautiful to watch it grow as well.
So what you see and also what you hear in Heilung is all coming from, I guess, organic sources. But it is nature sounds. We do use a lot of electronic hardware to amplify it,
Yeah.
to make it loud enough, and also to extract certain elements of nature sounds to get to you. So a lot of the machinery you see on stage, hidden under all the leaves and stuff like that, is cutting edge technology to get there. Right? And we're not afraid of using it, right? But of course, the core intention of what we're doing is the same, right? And that we will see similar responses in audience. For instance, that drum I talked about earlier, we see that kind of effect at every show we've done, and we've done well over 100 shows by now. Where we can see how people start ecstatic and everything, and then over the course of around 12 minutes, we get people to a state of mind where we can start to tell our story. And also that song you mentioned at the end, this is actually the outer points of our ritual, basically. And they will stay the same, where we will fill in content that can maybe vary, in between those two. But in order to actually have the ritual, we have made a very conscious choice of keeping the framework of it, so to say. Also, it has other elements I guess Kai can talk about, but the very idea of a ritual is, of course, that there is things that will stay the same to it.
No, of course, of course. Well said, well said. And this is something I wanted to touch on as well, because it's kind of crazy in the 10 years you've been doing this for. Yeah, oh yeah, 10 years now. That you've been in video games, you've been in the TV shows, you've kind of been shown a little bit of everywhere all over the world. Do you have any career highlights for you guys personally?
We were warming up for Slayer.
Hell yeah.
And Slipknot played after us. I think that was for the small metal kit that I'm still carrying inside of me. That was total highlights. I mean, like.
I think we all three also agree that traveling to Iceland for 10 days with Ninja to record the audio for Hellblade 2 was quite extraordinary. Just being sound nerds let loose with equipment in the Icelandic nature, and get to record ice caves underground and volcanic activity and lava caves, and it was just a playground for 10 days where you felt like, okay, I have the best job in the world.
For me, it's the highlight is always when we get to meet local tribes around the planet and figure out how close to each other we actually are, right? And also working, and dancing with them on stage. We have done so both in the Americas, in Asia, and also in Australia. And it is of the uttermost importance when you come with a native European tribal project and you come to new lands. Of course, you also have approval from the local tribes that it's okay to be there. And that for me is basically the highest gift you could get from anywhere, right? That we can come and connect.
No, well, we're looking forward to having you here, and thank you so much for spending some time here today. It's kind of really kind of opened my eyes to how you came to be. It's nice to just see something so organic grow into this massive thing you've created and that you can share with the world. But is there anything you wanted to say to the Australian fans? Because it's not long till you're back down here, and there's not a lot of tickets left. So if you want to see you guys, can't guarantee you'll be down here next year, although, I don't know, maybe you like us a lot and you'll be down here every 18 months. Who knows?
It will be some time before we come back. We know this already. It will be quite a lot of time before we come back. So this is kind of for this cycle that we're doing, and Heilung, as you know it right now, this will be the last time you have the chance to experience that.
Oh wow.
On this side of the world, and that means that after that, we will start moving on to other adventures and be back.
Yeah. I would like to add that if you're curious about what we do and maybe your friends don't kind of get it, or you're not sure if you can get anyone with you, don't be afraid to buy a ticket and come alone, because what we see again and again is that there's a tremendous tribal feeling and connection between our listeners, and you will meet like-minded people that you can hang out with and have a great evening. Don't be afraid of dressing up. Put your craziest makeup on. Prepare your favorite animal sound, and just go crazy for it. It's no rules. Just be yourself.
Leave your weapons at.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. Don't bring it. The security will freak out.
I think the security are going to freak out when they see everyone in the makeup as well. We don't need to terrify them with weapons as well. So yes, please do keep them at home. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time today. Can't wait to see you down here this November. It's been an absolute pleasure. I am very much looking forward to the show in Sydney at the Enmore Theatre. I don't know if you've been to that theatre before. You are going to love it. It's full of such history. It's beautiful. The acoustics are fantastic. Cannot wait. Thank you once again. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you.